Survivor Series 2019 is just over 2 weeks away, and this year's iteration of the Brand Warfare pay-per-view is arguably one of the most anticipated in recent memory. The addition of NXT to the usual red versus blue November nonsense has caused many fans to speculate on some potentially mouth-watering matches. The match pitting the women's champions from their respective brands against each other has the potential to be match of the night. Bayley versus Becky versus Baszler is a genuine dream match and impossible to call. Then there's the Tag Team Champs Triple Threat match pitting 3 of the best tag teams in the company against each other. Oh, and the small matter of Rey Mysterio challenging Brock Lesnar for his WWE Championship. Nevertheless, these are only the 3 matches confirmed for November 24th. And so, with a trio of stacked rosters, let the fantasy booking commence. Oh, and before we begin, an honourable mention does have to go to Keith Lee and Ricochet, who just missed out, but would no doubt craft an unforgettable match. If you don't believe me, see what they did in their WCPW World Cup match.
One hand clawed across the top of the head. Clothesline gets picked up and dropped down. He will not release that grip. He's been caught. The powerbomb, the sit-out powerbomb.
Oh, and if you're wondering why Finn Balor hasn't made this list, I kind of felt it would make more sense for him to concentrate on his rebirth in NXT and feud with perhaps Johnny Gargano, rather than defending a brand whose roster he doesn't really like. So with that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are 10 matches WWE simply has to make for Survivor Series 2019. Number 10, Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins. A fairly obvious place to start considering they have unfinished business from this week's Raw, but Adam Cole facing Seth Rollins would be the best match for all involved. A champion versus champion versus champion match pitting Brock Lesnar against The Fiend against Adam Cole would be, well, preposterous. If you want to bury and expose your NXT champion, that would be the match. Instead, you want a showcase for Adam Cole, something akin to his simply sensational showing on SmackDown last week. Try saying that one quickly. Then there's Seth Rollins, who's in a difficult place right now and should delete his Twitter account. He's just lost the Universal Championship, and to be honest, any fan support that went along with him in a, let's just say, mismanaged feud against Bray Wyatt. What he needs is to remind everyone of his brilliance between the ropes, the brilliance that led him to being the inaugural NXT champion. Finally, a victory for Adam Cole at an event like this against an opponent of Rollins' stature would do wonders for his career. Plus, it would build intrigue for when he arrives on the main roster and hopefully direct some viewers to watch Wednesday nights who want to see more from one of the best wrestlers on the planet today. Number 9, the Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black. Now, putting aside the fact that the Velveteen Dream is reportedly still injured after dropping his NXT North American Championship to Roderick Strong, oh, and the fact that Aleister Black just seemingly hides in a cupboard every single week, who wouldn't want to see these two tangle in a rerun of their brilliant match from War Games a couple of years ago? The Velveteen Dream could showcase his exquisite oratory ability and unique character to main roster fans in the build, and Aleister Black could remind everyone how good he is at kicking blokes' heads off. Aleister Black has really struggled to establish himself on Monday nights. Apparently no one wants to pick a fighter. Basically, ever since he parted ways with Ricochet, the higher-ups seem clueless about what makes the Dutch Destroyer special. So just allow him to return to his 2017 pomp and let this experience kickstart his main roster push. Number 8, KILLIAN DAIN versus BRAUN Strowman. Look me in the eye and tell me that you, or perhaps more importantly Vince McMahon, doesn't want to see these two big beefy bastards go at it. Like your last man standing, you know, banter. Number 7, DOMINIK DIJAKOVIC versus Shorty G. DOMINIK DIJAKOVIC stands nearly a foot taller than Shorty G, and so the mere visual of these two going face to face, or more likely nose to nipple before the bell rang, would be enough to make Vince McMahon explode. Nevertheless, this is much more than a simple David versus Goliath encounter. The former Chad Gable re-established himself on SmackDown through fantastic performances in 2019's King of the Ring tournament, exemplified by his valiant loss in the final against Baron Corbin. And whilst Baron Corbin has clearly improved between the ropes, just imagine the sort of match Shorty G could craft against someone of DIJAKOVIC's ability. The NXT star has been producing some jaw-dropping stuff you really want to feast your eyes on in his ongoing quest with Keith Lee to outdo each other and seemingly break the wrestling internet. His deceptive ability for a man his size, coupled with Shorty G's technical wizardry, could make for a mesmerizing match. Fans would come for the spectacle, but stay for the spectacular. Number 6, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. As mentioned earlier, we already have a match of the night contender to see who is the best women's champion in WWE. And whilst it's still feasible that you could have a traditional Survivor Series match, you can't help but feel it'd just be filled with lesser talent. Tamina. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks is a far more appealing alternative. You have one of the fastest rising stars in NXT's women's division against the woman who put it on the map. In addition, the visual of Banks using Belair's hair to reel her in for a bank statement is something I cannot stop thinking about. Get out of my head! The EST of NXT versus The Boss is another dream match that seemed impossible without brand warfare. But now that it is, WWE has to make it happen. Number 5, Roderick Strong versus AJ Styles. The only other champion versus champion match I'd have at Survivor Series is United States champion AJ Styles taking on NXT North American champion Roderick Strong for the title of Mr. America. Yes, now granted, they are both heels on their respective shows, but to be honest, I couldn't care less if they were given 20 minutes to work their magic inside the squared circle. Whether they work a breathtaking banger of a match with Strong targeting Styles' back so he couldn't execute the Styles Clash or get up for a phenomenal forearm, or a showdown of the shithousers with each man cutting every corner possible and loads of run-ins from their respective stablemates, this is must-see Survivor Series fodder. Number 4, Matt Riddle versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Right, so for previous entries on this list, I've kind of tried to pair up stars from NXT with guys from Raw or SmackDown who will have fascinating feuds that will lead to well-worked wars on November 24th. But you see, this one is a little bit different. Like, I have no doubt that Messrs. Riddle and Nakamura could craft a methodical back and forth match that would have the audience on the edge of their seat at Survivor Series. But I don't want that. I want these two laid-back former MMA fighters to absolutely kick the crap out of each other. I want to wince at every shot that they land, every chop, every kick. I want their chests to be cut to ribbons. And all the while, I want to be sat there cheering them on like children watching a playground scrap. The King of Strong Style versus the King of Bong Style. Book it, Vince. Number 3, Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan. I'll start this entry by admitting there is no chance in hell that this goes down at Survivor Series. But regardless, eyeing up the rosters, this, in my opinion, is one of the best potential matchups. Bryan's ability to showcase his opponent's strengths could make any performer look like a star. Just ask Mustafa Ali or Buddy Murphy or even Adam Cole last week. But in someone like former United Kingdom champion Pete Dunne, he's got someone who already is a star and merits a main roster exhibition. Given time, I have confidence that these two could craft a 5-star classic. But at the end of the day, I will settle for Pete Dunne mutilating Daniel Bryan's fingers when he goes for a yes chant. Number 2, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Another dream match that won't be happening in a couple of weeks, but nevertheless could potentially steal the show, is Rhea Ripley challenging arguably the most talented female performer in WWE. Whenever someone is in a match with Charlotte Flair, it's their best match. She coaxes fantastic performances out of whoever she faces. Now granted, in kayfabe, Rhea Ripley is gearing up for War Games the night before Survivor Series, and Charlotte Flair is presumably busy challenging for the Women's Tag Team Championships with Natalya of all people. If I know. However, just imagine if they put that to one side and just had a straight up brawl instead. Charlotte could use this match to re-establish herself as the queen before another inevitable run at the title, and Rhea Ripley would benefit from facing off against the best of the best before challenging Shayna Baszler for the championship she's held for over a year in this reign alone. Number 1, Tommaso Ciampa versus Roman Reigns. I mean, just look at it. The golden boys of their respective brands going head to head to see who rules the roost is better than any elimination match I could make, because it's something that fans, myself included, never before thought possible. Look, let's be honest here. If Ciampa gets called up to either Raw or SmackDown, in all likelihood, he's going to be as mismanaged as Aleister Black, as badly booked as Finn Balor, and as overlooked as, well, probably Shorty G. But imagine if he faced off against Roman as equals whilst they're both white hot. And this match would clearly help Reigns too. Look, the problem we always had with the big dog, is he is clearly a talented wrestler, but it's the booking that always lets him down. What a wonderful resolution it would be, therefore, if just over a year after his devastating leukemia announcement, Roman Reigns was able to put on a Match of the Year candidate against a man who's had his own struggles and setbacks this year in Tommaso Ciampa. Who wins? Who cares? Just give it to me. And that's our list. What matches would you like to see at this year's Survivor Series? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can check out more recent videos here. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.